Welcome back, everyone, to the Amateur's Guide to Shogi. Today I'm just going to do some more puzzles. Puzzles number 3, I believe. And I'll do a few, maybe 3. We'll see how long it takes, and hopefully you either enjoy or learn something from it, or both. Okay, so... Oh, wait, are we doing tsume? We should be doing tsume. Most of the puzzles in Light Shogi are tsume puzzles anyway, but... better to be more specific. Okay. So we've only got a bishop in our hand, a bishop on the field, and a rook on the field. Neither promoted. They've got this lance and a dragon. Now, this dragon is providing a lot of good defense here, so this could be interesting. So most drops, any drops on this file probably won't end up working. Is my initial guess, unless we first take out the dragon. But if takes and then recaptures by the king, which would be one of the only moves, he could run as well, or here, which could be just as valid, but we'll just go with the obvious choice for now. If he takes the rook, is there anything there? I don't think so, simply because he's on the wrong diagonal for this bishop. So let's ignore that for now. There's another idea that I have, which is sort of this, except he probably just then takes the rook because it is undefended at the moment. Okay, so initial thoughts, after just looking at it for a little bit, is that both of these pieces are undefended, so I feel like the first move probably has to defend the rook, would be my guess. Simply because otherwise the king is just taking, and I don't think you can salvage that. So then that brings me to my next thought. What about this bishop drop? It is a sack, obviously, but it x-rays the rook, right? And it actually prevents, since the rook is preventing the king from moving, the king has to either take or go this way, or you can take with the dragon. So, and I think if you take with the dragon, I think that is just mate after this promotion here, because they now protect each other. The rook covers these squares, the horse would be giving the check, and it would be covering these two squares, and of course this square would have a dragon on it, so you can't run there. So that would be mate if you just take with the dragon. If you take with the king, you could probably just take with check, and then the only move there is to drop something here, but then you can just take because it is protected by this bishop. And the final thing, I think, after this drop here, is that the king could go... Oh, no, he can't go there because of this bishop. So I think that is it. I think it is this. There's only 2 options. Okay, and this is the one they're going with, which is just mate after this horse promotion. Okay, that wasn't so bad. Next puzzle. Wow, this is clearly from a game, and it's a bit of an interesting game, actually. A bit of a weird one. Both the kings are obviously in the middle. I have both the rooks, and they have both the bishops, so there's been a rook for bishop trade probably at some point. I've got a silver in my hand, I've got this nice lance, looking very dangerous where it is. And the king's escape route is already kind of cut off for me, so that is something good. Okay. Okay, let's think of what checks we've got. We've got this check, this check, this check, this check, or this check, or even this check, or this check. So there's a lot of checks to look at here. Sort of initial idea of perhaps doing rook check or rook check seems promising. Something like this, and then silver drop back, and I don't think you've got any finishes there. So, or a rook drop here. I'm not so sure about dropping anything here because it can be taken by this gold, which is, it's fine. It's a sack, but more critically, it opens up the escape route. I don't really want to allow this gold to move out of the way so that the king can get out. So I think having any piece end up here is probably not the idea. I think the idea is going to have to be mating on that square or this square with the bishop covering. Sorry, the knight covering this square. So what ideas do we have next? Maybe this drop. That's a check, obviously. Only move is to take. Then, actually, you could take backwards as well. Let's look at a more forcing move then, this move. Literally only one move, and that is to take. And then, yeah, I was thinking maybe silver drop or something, but then, no, it's too protected. Well, actually, the gold would be here. And the lance, the king could just take, because the lance is unprotected. Unfortunately, I don't think this rook is coming into the attack. So, something else. There's also this check, although I know I kind of decided against putting anything on this square, but potential possibility. I guess if the gold moves, it does leave this square open for like a rook drop, which could be the finisher. Check. Takes. There's too many generals. How do we mate when there's so many generals? I'm a little bit stumped by this one. It's the most forcing move. Only one reply. Then what about takes? Still only one reply, and then you could drop the silver here where it can't be taken, and it is defended by the knight. But the king still has 1 and 2 squares. But we would have a golden hand. That's probably what I'm missing. Always got to remember which pieces you're getting in your hand by the time this sequence is over. So actually, I do like this idea. This is promising, because after takes, which is a series of forced moves, then we have a golden hand. So a silver drop here, check, would force the king. Let's just remove the arrows to make it a little bit easier to see. Silver drop here, the king would be here, and the king would be forced to either go back here or here. And I think regardless of where he goes, gold drop on this square would be mate, because it gives a check regardless of where the king is. The silver covers the gold, the knight covers the silver, and the silver covers this square here. So I think that is it. Series of pretty much forced moves. There we go. Whew, that was not an easy one. Oh wow, my ratings just popped over 2,000. That's way higher than it should be. Anyway, puzzle number 3. Got 2 for 2 at the moment, so that's not so bad. Okay, king on the corner. There's a nice rook for them defending this entire line, but we've also got a gold here. That's looking pretty dangerous. It is protected. Something useful to note is that we can put a pawn somewhere in this row, which could be important, potentially. Okay. problem in this rook. This rook is the root of all of my problems here, because I don't think I have. Okay, well, I was about to say I don't have a single check where the rook can't defend. That's not true. I have a rook in my hand, so I can put it here, 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 or here, and those are all checks. But I don't think any of them are good. Well, for starters, here, here, and here, it can just be taken by this gold. Here, it can be taken by the silver, and here, it's just too far away. You could just block with a gold. Put a gold right there. So I don't think that's a good idea. My first inclination is to either drop a silver here or a rook here. Either of which could obviously be taken by the rook. In fact, I think that's the only move in. If let's work one at a time. If you drop the silver, the king could take, or the rook could take, or the king could take this gold. Actually, no, that's not true. It's being defended. Excuse me. So there's two moves there. King could take, rook could take. The rook idea, I think, is a little bit more forcing because the king can't move here. The king can't take because it's being defended. So the only move is rook takes. So that is potentially the most forcing continuation. So there's only one move to calculate here. So rook takes rook. And after rook takes rook, I'm guessing pretty much the only continuation could be moving the gold down a square, taking the rook. After that, the only legal move is to take the gold back. And I do have a rook in my hand at that point, so I could even do rook here, defended by the bishop. Okay, so if we imagine rook here and the king is here, the king can't move here, 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 or take the rook, so he has to go back. And at that point, I would have a silver in my hand, which I can then drop here, which would be mate. And I think that's a series of forced moves. So let's just run that over again. Rook drop here is the most forcing move. There's only one reply to it. Rook has to take. I take with the rook. King takes gold is the only move. Rook drop up here, check. King back is the only move, and then silver drop here, protected by the rook, is checkmate. So let's do that. Nice. So that's 3 down. I feel like I've been keeping decent speed here, so I'll do 1 or 2 more. Hopefully don't want to make it too long. Okay, so we've got a gold and a bishop in hand and 1 pawn. Looks like this comes from a game. And the king in the middle. His escape route is being cut off by this knight, which is protected. That's nice. And also this pawn. Except this pawn isn't protected, so he can get out this way. I feel like that's our first priority, is to prevent him from taking this pawn. That's dangerous. Too dangerous. I think, actually, this could be the first move again. We saw this sort of motif in, I think, the first puzzle. Using a bishop sack to protect protect another piece through the king. Because I believe there's 2 responses to that, I think. Yeah. So if bishop drop here, let's put that there. The king can't move here, here, or here because of the horse. It can't move here because of the pawn. It can't take the pawn because of this bishop up here. So it can only move here, or it can take the bishop. Those are its only 2 options after this bishop drop. Okay. I think if it takes the bishop, that's really easy to figure out, because we've got these 2 over here. This is cutting off this direction. So I think it would just be if the king was here, I think gold drop here would just be mate. Because it's protected by the horse. Protected by the horse. This square is covered. This square is covered. This square is covered. This square is covered. And this square is obviously covered by the horse. So yeah, that would be mate if he takes the bishop. So he can't take the bishop. Only other square is here. And that actually provides... actually, no, I think it's the same move. same finisher, is you just drop the gold here, because that gives the check. It's still protected. He can't take it, obviously. Can't go here because of the gold. Can't go down because of the pawn, and can't go over here because of the knight. So I think it's just the same gold drop. Okay, not too bad. Next one. Okay. Wow, I'm not looking so happy over here. Luckily, I've clearly got a mate, so king is here. I've got a dragon and a lance. Doubt the lance is going to do anything. I've also got a bishop in hand. I've got a knight in hand. I've got 6 pawns in hand. Pawn can only be dropped in this and this file. So probably not going to be useful. Okay, what checks have I got? First and foremost, there's this check. I don't think sacking the dragon in any of these squares is going to be very good. Just on a hunch. It can just be taken or taken, and I don't think we have enough pieces in our hand, and I don't think the king is cut off enough for that sack to work. Usually, a sack such like sacking a whole dragon for no material gain, the king needs to be pretty tightly cut off for that to succeed. Or if you get something out of it, like a gold, for example. So I think this dragon needs to facilitate the attack from the bishop. So I like this drop here. Okay. Obviously, the king can't take it because it is protected. Can't go here and here because of the dragon. Can't go here because of this pawn. So the only move after the bishop drop is for the king to move here. Okay, what next? We've got 2 knight checks, but I don't think either of them accomplish anything. And this check doesn't seem to do anything because you just take, or even take this way. So perhaps I've run out of steam with that idea. I don't see a follow-up, unless it's this check. Then you can go here or here. And then what? I don't see a follow-up from that either. Check there. Oh, what about this check? He can block, but you would just... no, you wouldn't take because of this. So bishop, check. Oh, sorry. Bishop there, check. You can also just take the bishop. So I don't think that works. Check. Okay, well, let's try the other way then. This pawn can also protect a bishop, so let's try this direction. Check, and I think still the only move is to go here. But this time the rook has a little bit more vision, perhaps. Or even perhaps this check works now because there's no bishop to take. So check. You could block. If the king is here. Or you could just run, so I don't think that works either. Check here. Still got a knight, but I don't think any knight drop is going to help. Yeah, not so easy. Surely there's not a rook sack or anything. That'd be a bit extreme. What about this check first? Takes. I think if this check first and if he runs, for example, this is the only square, I think that runs into trouble almost straight away with, say, this bishop check. and back, and then like check, blocks, and mate or something. So I think taking is the obvious decision. What do you have then? There's no bishop drop here with the lance because you can just take. I think as I said right in the beginning, losing a dragon for no compensation in this position, I just don't think there's enough. I don't think we have enough in our hands to justify that. So check and check. Those two bishop checks are the two checks that jump out at me, but I don't see it. Unless, what about this check? Seems a little weird, but I guess it makes sense because usually you want to check as close to the king as possible because you don't want him to be able to put down something in between. But in this particular instance, it doesn't matter because if you block, then you just take, and that's mate. So this check actually works, and the difference between that is, well, one, the king is still cut off, so there's still only one move. But critically, the rook now has a lot more room to move than when it was here. And also, there's no king takes bishop at some point. So check here is still the only move that doesn't run into mate on the spot. And then there's like this, perhaps? That's a check. There's only one move, and then, aha, checkmate. Dragon on the side. Let's run that through again. Check. You can't block, so you have to move here. Check. Defended by the bishop. That covers this square, this square, this square, this square, and this square, by both the pawn and the dragon. So the only square he can move to is here, and then just move the dragon down on the side, on his belly, and that will be mate. So there we go. Okay, that wasn't so bad. Wow, I got 5 in a row there. That's pretty good. Maybe I'm getting better at this. Anyway, I think I will call it there. I don't know exactly how long I've been going for, but I've done 5 puzzles, so it can't be that short. Hope you all enjoyed, and I guess I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.